What is going on, everyone? My name is Rob and thank you all for watching yet another video. Today we are gonna look at the Bitcoin price. Big things are ahead right now. Looking at some interesting posts, we see some ETF inflows and even more. So stay tuned and let's get straight into it, guys. Okay, so starting off by looking at the charts, we can see that yesterday we actually came above this level at 63.1k. If we zoom in, you can see we wicked above it, also managed to close above it, but right now are having a rejection from that level. Why is this? Well, of course, it's a weekend day, so usually what you see is that the price action that's happening during the weekend will reverse itself back to the close on this last Friday. So we can see the Friday close was around 62.5k, so we can expect today to close at around 62.5k as well. Just because it's a weekend and the weekend rallies usually don't mean much in crypto, because the biggest money is flowing in when the stock markets are open. So that's why we usually see a reversal in the weekend from any pumpage. Friday though, we saw a quite nice bump from around 60k all the way up to 63.5k. And that, in my opinion, has everything to do with the ETF flows. If we look at the ETF flows, we had a 253 million inflows last Friday. Like the 3 days prior to that, we had 140 million-ish in outflows, so we still profit net up around 110 million in inflows. So the ETFs are still picking up pace. If you look at this little graph right here, you can see it's still going down, the total Bitcoin spot ETF cumulative flow. So that's very good to see. And I expect that this will just continue to grow further like it's been doing the last, like since the ETFs are live. So yeah, that's it for the ETFs. All right, so next up we have the monthly returns for Bitcoin, and I see a lot of people that are actually exiting the market right now, and I just can't believe why you would be exiting at this point. Look at this, guys. I've said this once before in one of my videos, but every time we had a green September, it has happened 1, 2, 3, now 4 times. This 3 times that happened, we see we had a massive green October, November, and December. Right here we had it. Here we had a green September. We also followed with green October, November, December, and here the same. So if this is something to be expected right now, like it's happened all the 3 times prior, so there's no reason to believe that this time we won't see green October, November, December. So yeah, if this is the future, like why would you leave right now? Because things are getting boring, in my opinion. It's just stupid to think that. So yeah, why would you exit the market right now? Also, looking at this post here, we see this very interesting graph where we actually, once we bounced from this level and went above this key level at 139, we actually saw a nice little bull run for Bitcoin. We have seen it. I mean, he counts these as bull runs as well. You shouldn't like name it a bull run, but more like uptrend. In my opinion, it's more like an uptrend. But we can see that we bounced all the way back here, which is quite lower than the previous bounces. So maybe this bounce to the upside could be higher than the previous bounce as well. So this is interesting to look out for, because we have just broken above this level. And as you can see here, every time that has happened, we had a green uptrend for Bitcoin. And this is also in line with what I was talking about, looking at the monthly returns. So yeah, this is quite in line. So this is also why I believe this big run, this big move to the upside is gonna happen quite soon rather than later. So yeah, that's also something to look out for. Also, then we also have some interesting things happening on chain. Well, not on chain, but on the Google search terms. If we look at the Bitcoin search term on Google, we can see that it's actually at an all-time low. It's at 13 only. Well, previous it's been down to like 11, like maybe lower than this, but for the last 4 years, basically like 3 to 4 years, it's been on the lowest point. And what we see is that it tends to dip down, like right here it did previous on September 2020. It also dipped down, and like this marked the bottom for Bitcoin. And after this we saw the bull run happen. If we look back at the chart here, looking back at the chart here, we can see that this was around September 2020 right here. And basically Bitcoin has not been doing anything in this moment. Like, it's been consolidating, and apparently the interest search on Google for Bitcoin went very low, and this basically started a massive rally because a lot of people like were exiting the markets just right about when Bitcoin was about to blow up. And right now we are seeing similar things. We have this consolidation period. It's the interest on Bitcoin on Google is ultra low, and this should actually signal some bullish momentum because what I just mentioned. So yeah, we could definitely expect Bitcoin to pump towards 100k once we break above this. Also, if we look at this chart real quick, this is on the daily, we can see something like a rounding bottom forming. So we have all these lows. If you take a line from all these lows, it's actually rounding up towards the upside. So maybe this is starting the parabolic move for Bitcoin. So yeah, this is also, it's a, in my opinion, quite a bullish time to be in the crypto space, and I can't just believe why you would not be invested right now, or why you would exit the market right now. Leslie, or not Leslie, but look at this. Also, Trump is leading almost 10% against Harris. It's fluctuating a bit between 53% and 55% for him, but he's still, with only 23 days left for the election, is still holding up the biggest amount of votes so far. And yeah, also Harris had a, like, in my opinion, Trump of course is gonna win, but Harris had a interesting program saying that she is probably gonna stimulate the market. So even if Harris were to win, I think there's gonna be more money printing, and it will still be bullish for the crypto space eventually. But of course, Trump as a big Bitcoin believer, would be even more bullish for crypto. All right, so this is actually a chart that is showing us the price action for Bitcoin after each US election. As we can see here in the teal line, this is what happened after the first halving of the new, also the new election, on the date of the election. So for now, that's in 23 days. The red dotted line is the average, and the black line was the, like, the second halving cycle, and the blue line here is the third halving cycle. So looking at this, we can actually expect somewhere between a 10 and a 50x if we look at the medium, like the average. But yeah, of course, if we take into consideration that we are looking at diminishing returns because every cycle has been lower returns, we could expect somewhere between a 3 and a 5x from this point, which would put Bitcoin, a 3x would put Bitcoin at around 180k, and a 5x at around 300k. So that is something that I'm personally looking out for, those targets. Also, this, as we can see here on chain, has happened every time after an election, a US election, and it has nothing to do with even Democrats or Republicans winning. Every time a new president has been elected, Bitcoin price went up after. So this is also very bullish and something to keep your eyes out for. So to end off today's video, I want to look out at altcoins because last week we saw most of the altcoins go negative, while we see, of course, some huge meme coins spiking last week. Also, Sui and Sai are doing solid, but for the rest, it's all most likely altcoins. And the more utility-like coins have not seen that much upside, or even saw some negativity from the last week. This might be still a solid time once we see some little drops to scale into altcoins. My personal favorite, of course, is Render. Looking at Render right now, we see actually something similar happening as we've been seeing twice already, where we make another higher low, and from this point, maybe make a higher high towards $7.20. If this were to happen, of course, you have this nice inverse head and shoulder pattern forming, which will suggest a massive breakout. But for now, it's still looking like, yeah, not like that much. We did, though, like broke out of this resistance right here, so we should expect the curve up towards the upside. Also, with Bitcoin going up, altcoins will go up even further, and I believe Render is one of those altcoins that could still see a, from this point, like a 10 to 20x. $100 Render, in my opinion, is like a very bullish scenario, but also not super unrealistic. My targets for Render are between 50 or like 35 and $50, and that's when I'll be selling half my holdings, and after that it's just a smooth ride towards higher prices, in my opinion. But just to decrease some risk, because I'm invested in Render since it was like $1.70, $1.60. Oh no, right here, after we broke this trend line right here, this is where I entered most of my Render positions at around $1.50. So I'm still sitting at 4x profit on this. But yeah, in my opinion, this could go even higher than we have already seen. We had this similar structure right here, and once we break out of it, you can see that it took quite a long time before we went on a run. So right now we're consolidating, and maybe towards December we can see a nice run, and hopefully it go all the way to $100. But yeah, this is just time will tell. So yeah, for now on the short term, looking for Render, I'm expecting a bounce from this level and maybe a pump towards $7.20, which would be very nice. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. I see you guys next Wednesday. And for now, peace out, stay put, and keep your Bitcoin. Don't sell.